Hello, this is Douglas Robinson with DevEdit Software LLC, and in this video I want to go over something that I haven't had to use very often, but when I needed it, it was nearly impossible to get done, and I wanted to share it just in case you ran into the same issue, and that is how to add a space to something using a modifier. If you have to replace something like a %20, if you're working with something that might be, URL encoded, with a space, it is nearly impossible in Cherwell. And there is not anything else I've run into in the tool that has frustrated me quite as much as this, because at the point in time that I needed it, I tried about 10 different things, and I almost gave up. And I finally found something that works. And I'm going to go over what works first, just so you don't have to watch the whole video. And then I'm going to go over the many things that I tried, some of the many things that I tried that didn't work. So what I did is I used a replace action to replace %20 with a custom expression. Now, if I did %20 with a space, for example, we'll try that right here. Doesn't let you save the value, so that didn't work. Instead, what we've done is we've used a custom expression. Oh no, it didn't. It updated it. Let me cancel out. I thought I hit cancel. Anyways. So we used a custom expression. If I open up this custom expression, we have a token. We have a token that says 1 space 1, which looks kind of stupid, but that's alright. And this is a stored value. I created a stored value and labeled it 1 space 1. And what it is just a couple of number ones, and then the word space, and then number ones. And in between this being duplicated twice, we have a character for a space. And this came about for a very specific reason, which I'll get to later. But this is what I did, and this actually works. So we do that, and then we've got this separator in between our space that we need to strip out. Now, at this point, I have a remove statement. And this remove statement removes that specific text. Now, it's going to remove it twice, because it occurs in more than one place, and it's going to occur wherever there was a %20. It'll happen twice for each one, because it's inserting that delimiter twice, and then a space, and then it removes the delimiter from it. So what's left is the space that should have replaced the %20 in the first place, which is all very complicated. But if we cancel out of this and we run it, that's the text over there, if you follow my cursor, that's supposed to be escaped. Is this little value. It's intended to be part of this API integration we're working on, where you can append to a URL owned by team equals service desk with URL encoding for %20, because it has to be URL encoded because it's going to be appended to a URL. So anyways, that's what we're trying to get at, is that %20 becomes a space like that. And if we run this, that's exactly what happens, and I'm very happy that I got it to happen that way. Now we're going to look at what doesn't work. So the very first thing that I tried here was, what if I just do a custom expression with a space? I can't save it with a space. Then I thought, what if I do a custom expression with a space and a stored value for nothing? So there's a space here, and then nothing. If we close it, if we go back into it, the space is gone. So we can't do a space and then nothing. And then I thought, well, I've seen this work. What if I do a space and text, so the number 1? We go back into it, the space is gone. So it has to be maybe a token or something. Now at this point, I think, what if I do some text and then a space and then a number 1? Well, that works. That gets saved, and that's fine. So here's where this comes into play. So then I think, oh, alright, well, I'm going to include a delimiter, but it has to be a delimiter that would not reasonably be included as a parameter that someone's going to send, because the text that we're working with is going to be text that will change depending on the needs of the users of a map that we're going to create. So I create a delimiter, and I say, alright, we're going to create a delimiter with some square brackets, because no one ever uses square brackets, and the word space, and the number 1, and a space in between, and that's great. And then we're going to do remove, and then our delimiter. So that's our delimiter. It's in this custom expression twice with a space in between it. Now watch what happens when we run this. we end up with that value right there that I ran into earlier. It removes most of the delimiter, except for these square brackets. I think there might be a bug with square brackets in modifiers and a replace action. I don't know. I don't really care enough to find out. But it doesn't remove those square brackets. So then my next thought is, alright, that's kind of annoying. I'll just add another remove statement. I decide I'll just remove the ending square bracket and then, oh, you know what? That removes the entire thing. I'll remove the ending square bracket and then I'll remove the starting square bracket. Except you can't do that. If someone uses that delimiter there, if they use square brackets at all, then those get removed. But if we run this, then you get a space. That works too. But you then can't use square brackets in your parameters, which might work for you, but it doesn't work for me. So what I have to do is I have to create a delimiter that doesn't have anything fancy in it that might strip out what you're doing. And in that case, what that delimiter is this really stupid text right here. This, as dumb as it looks, can at least get me a value that has a space in it that doesn't restrict the data that I can send into it and actually gives me the data that I want out of it. Now you could choose a different delimiter there. At the end of the day, the results are the same, but it took some real creative thinking for me to get to the point where I could actually insert a space into a value based on something like, hey, a %20 because it's coming in through an API. Now, doing the whole route of a stored value, that was a little convoluted. I like putting stuff in stored values, but in this case, a custom expression like this works just as well, and I'm actually going to leave it that way because now I don't have to remember to include a stored value in this map. But just so you know, if you ever need to reverse URL encode something, or if you ever need to replace something with a space, that's how you have to do it. You have to replace it instead of a space with some kind of text delimiter that you know isn't included in the data that you're replacing values from. Put that delimiter in there twice with a space between it, and then remove the delimiter afterwards. Alright, so that's our video. And the other thing, when I mentioned earlier, I don't want to do it with like just removing the brackets. The other thing is I don't want a system where a bug is occurring like that and it's not checked. So just, moving to a text delimiter worked better for me. If you like this video, feel free to press the little like button or subscribe. If you have any questions about this or why I sound so annoyed, feel free to post them in the comment section below. And if you want to see other videos like this one, you can subscribe. Thanks.